Learn how easy it is
to
take control of retirement.
Oh, let's do this.
401k into a buckets portfolio.
Everybody wants to meet Nikki. I heard that yesterday. You want to give him a big high?
right now.
No, not right now. Okay.
Yeah, no.
Not right now. All right. She said not right now. Next time. You guys will get to see Nikki next time.
Take a closer look at the fees you may be paying with an old
Somebody was telling me the other day, said something like,
out of
"Oh,
mind.
you know, Nikki, she's just this voice to me." So she is a real person.
I know, right?
1150 or visit luciacap.com. That's luciacap.com. Securities offered through Lucia
All right,
Securities
let's do
LLC, member
this.
FINRA SIPC, a subsidiary of Lucia Capital Group and affiliate of Lucia Wealth Services.
Did you know that the average yearly repair bill for a car 5 years or older is more than $1,200? Having repair coverage for your car just makes sense, but the trick is not to overpay for it. With Toco Warranty, you can get a highly rated vehicle protection plan, usually for less than a tank of gas per month. And now, we're offering a zero down payment program. To get a great car vehicle protection plan,
This is fun. This is old school.
I know, right? I saw you walking, I was like, holy shit.
It's old school. It's like we used to come in the studio and set up the phone in the corner over there.
Does not necessarily represent the views or opinions of the
We didn't even have a
staff and
tripod. I
managing
literally would
director
like
of this
Yeah,
just
balance it on something.
balance it on
Time to
something.
get on the right path with Right Path Real Estate
too
Radio
funny.
with Jason Michael. Get the answer to your question that's keeping you from taking action and succeeding today. Get ready. The guy that will put your fears behind you is on the air now. Taking calls at 713-785-1817. Toll free 877-881-0271. Now here's your host, Jason Bible.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Jason Bible, Right Path Real Estate. Call-in number 713-785-1817. I'm actually in the studio. This is old school. Sitting here with Nikki on the 12th floor. You know, I like our new building, but y'all's view is still better than
Yeah, the
ours on the
view's
12th
awesome.
floor. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can actually see, I think our office is just west of, that's a Memorial Hermann building there, so we're just a little bit west of that. But up here in the studio, we're still waiting for internet in our new office. I think it goes in today. And then, of course, we got to set the new studio up. But it's fun to be here. Again, the number is 713-785-1817. Or you can go to our Facebook page, Right Path Real Estate. It's actually facebook.com/Right Path Real Estate. So today, I want to talk about a special topic. And that is how you create wealth, or how wealth is measured. One of the fascinating things that we got a couple of real nerdy guys on Facebook, and we have this discussion about how to create wealth and how does one actually measure wealth. If you really want to get into the weeds of wealth creation, today is that show. I'll give you a perfect example of this. Whenever you get into real estate, everyone tells you, hey, you've got to go read the book, The Millionaire Next Door, which is great. Good book, don't get me wrong. Dr. Stanley is if I remember, he's a statistician. And then he had another gentleman that helped him write the book. But fantastic guy, very smart guy, and really a great book. However, the first book, The Millionaire Next Door, came out before the real estate crisis of 2008. So one of the fascinating metrics that he used prior to 2008 in determining one's wealth is the valuation of their homestead. In other words, if you've got a house that you live in, that counts towards your net worth. And I'll tell you what, I've always thought that was a goofy metric, because you could own a house, let's say, worth $1 million. And that technically means your net worth, if you have no other liabilities against that homestead, is $1 million. And are you really worth $1 million? Sure, you're worth $1 million on paper, but that's a little bit different than having $1 million in the bank. Or having $1 million in real estate that's paying you every month, whether that's commercial or residential, doesn't really matter. However, after 2008, what was that $1 million house worth? Probably $500,000, $600,000, somewhere around there. So he wrote another book. I think it's The Millionaire Next Door Revisited. I can't remember. I can look it up here on the computer. But essentially he updated a lot of his statistics, removing or significantly discounting the homestead. Because here's the reality, you got to live somewhere. If you're living, I was watching a Netflix series that I really like. The second season came out here in the last couple of weeks. It's with Will Arnett. The show's called Flaked, and it's in Venice Beach, which is essentially in LA for all intents and purposes. And they talk about some of the gentrification that's going on in there, and there's kind of a running joke in the show that once this hotel is put up, that all these small businesses essentially can't afford the rent anymore. So they go from businesses that had brick and mortar locations to, running out of like a van. Like this guy had a coffee shop, couldn't afford the rent anymore, so now he's got this $8, a cup coffee shop that's essentially running out of the back of his van. So in those scenarios in which the market appreciates so rapidly and it's your homestead, what is it really worth? How do you calculate your net worth? And the reality is, if you live in Venice Beach 30 years ago and it was a $150,000 house, now it's $1 million house, well, does that really matter in your net worth calculation? Because guess what? You got to live somewhere. That's the reality. Got to live somewhere. So I see a lot of people, I got this house, I got all this equity in, but I live in it. Yeah, so what? You got to live somewhere. I mean, are you gonna sell that $1 million house and live in a $500 a month rent-controlled apartment? No, that's crazy. Yeah, try that one on your spouse. Hey, honey, we're going to liquidate this really nice house that we've got in Bel Air, and we're going to move into an apartment complex in Sharpstown. I'm sure that's going to go over real well at dinner tonight. So using your homestead as a portion of your net worth really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So in any case, in Dr. Stanley's book, I want to say it was The Millionaire Revisited, something like that. But it's The Millionaire Next Door, essentially, that he wrote after 2008. By the way, his best book to date, at least all the ones that I've read, is actually The Millionaire Mind. And it's the one that's very rarely quoted, but it's probably one of my favorite books on wealth because it goes into the mindset of the wealthy. A little bit deeper, a little more science, a little more math, but it's a really great book. In any case, we don't use what your homestead is worth as part of your net worth calculations. Because the reality is you're not going to liquidate everything and live in a van down by the river. So it doesn't make sense to use that as part of your calculation. What does make sense is all your other assets. And what I like to look at is cash flow producing assets. Now, someone's going to tell me, hey, Jason, you guys run a flipping company and wholesaling, and we do some rental properties, but not a whole lot. But are those really cash flow producing assets? And of course, the assets are not, but the asset I'm talking about is actually the business. See, most wealth in this country is concentrated in two areas: business ownership and real estate. And when I mean business ownership, I think a lot of people think that the stock market is where a lot of people get their wealth. If you listen to a lot of these radio programs, particularly on business radio, a lot of folks' wealth is not really derived so much from the stock market as it is from saving and investing. If you can save a significant amount of money and invest it in real estate, all you're really doing is, or invested in the stock market, really what you're doing is you're trying to achieve double-digit rates of return through a savings account. That's not really the point of the show. And in reality, when you look at how wealth is created in this country, that's not really how it's created. You're not creating wealth through double-digit rates of return. I mean, you're making decent returns, but if an ROI calculation is anywhere in your wealth creation strategy, you're probably not going to get very wealthy. What do I mean by that? One of the worst metrics to use in creating wealth is return on investment. Why is that? When you first start a business, You don't look at, hey, I'm putting $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 in here, and I'm making a 10% rate of return, 20% rate of return. You know, we started Houston House Buyers, which between the two companies now has bought and sold nearly 400 houses. Tom and I started with $40,000. I put 20 in, he put 20 in. And then from there, we grew it into a massive house buying business. Our ROI is so ridiculously high, it doesn't even make sense to calculate. But that's what you're supposed to do in a business. Do you think Steve Jobs, when he created Apple, sat down and said, hey man, I got $1,000 to put into the kitty here with Steve Wozniak and another gentleman whose name escapes me, who was not a partner long? Do you think he sits down, well, when he was alive, sits down and says, oh yeah, my return on investment in Apple is a bazillion %? No, because ROI doesn't make sense as a metric for building wealth or building a business. It doesn't make sense at all. Now, if I'm a private lender or if I'm a financial partner in a deal, then it makes sense. But if I'm the business owner and operator, it makes no sense to use ROI. ROI is not a metric in which you use to determine your wealth. It just doesn't make sense. When we get back from the break, I want to talk about owned real estate or owned assets versus leveraged assets, and why, and which one's more important in developing your wealth strategy. So Jason Bible, Right Path Real Estate.
What's up? Is it so weird?
What's so funny?
No, I was talking to you. I was like, does it feel weird?
Oh, no, actually, I think I think our shows are always better in studio, like here, than they are in our own studio. Because it's just like me, sitting in a room, you know,
property, then call Fast Track Remodeling,
sitting there in like a like, I don't know if you ever saw like our whole studio. It's like a little beige office, just sitting there in front of a desk.
Fast Track
So
Remodeling
you guys
specializes in turnkey remodeling
Yep,
of
$40,000.
whether it's a flip rehab or a rental rehab.
So we started with $40,000 and we bought, we marketed. We spent about 20 grand in marketing before we got our first deal. We got our first deal marketing 4 houses to buy. Yeah. So we bought our first house and we made $97,000 in that one. And then in that same marketing that we did, we picked up another house that we wholesale for $47,000, and then we picked up another one that we ended up selling for $125,000. In fact, that third house for $125,000, we just bought the house next door, and we're rehabbing the house next door right now. So if you go to our Facebook Live, our Facebook page, you see this really like dark, like it's almost a black, like midnight blue color house. That the house next door is our third house that we did. Yeah. And we actually talked to the owner a couple of times. Hey, what do you think of the house? They're like, we love it. It's so awesome. Yeah, it's really cool.
Investors that covers purchase, repairs, and closing costs. In addition,
I paid for a ton of real estate education, and that's when I realized that most of the real estate education out there doesn't teach you how to build a business. It teaches you how to manage a transaction. In other words, how do you get a house under contract? You know, how that contract goes through the closing process, how do you manage a rehab, and then how do you sell it? Or for landlords, how do you lease that property out? No one teaches you how to run the actual business, right? No one teaches you how to do the marketing and how to do the sales with a homeowner and how to get the financing in play. I mean, no one teaches you all that stuff, which is how we started the radio show and everything else. But we've only been doing this for, do what?
The retreats and stuff.
Yeah, that's when we started doing the weekend retreat. Well, we started the radio show
2 minutes.
with the idea that people would, people have the same questions, right, over and over and over again. So we're like, we'll do a radio show every day. You guys can just call it, and we'll get some sponsors, and the sponsors will pay for the radio show, and it'll work out for everybody, right? So then more people started asking us, hey, would you teach like a, like a weekend? And I was like, okay, but it's not going to be like, it's not one of these cheerleading sessions and everybody's going to be a millionaire and clapping and singing and run up and down the aisle. It's like, not that. This is a business meeting, right? So it used to be a Saturday, Sunday. Now it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because we couldn't do everything in 2 days. And then, of course, now we have a coaching program Really, it's a consulting program where people come in and then we look at their business and kind of tear their business down. And you need to be doing this, yeah. So, and most of the people that join at that level have done a couple of deals. They just haven't been successful at it yet. Like they're trying to figure. They're like, I've lost money on these and I've made money on these, and I'm trying to figure out how to get it all to mesh together. Yeah. So, yeah, that's how this whole thing started, and that started February 2016. Is that right, Nikki? February 15th. Yeah. Well, the house buying business started in July of 2013, so it'll be 4 years old in next month.
Or choose one of our transaction
It grows fast. It really does.
Wholesale, wraps, or private financing deals. Our business and commercial services include business.
No questions? I got no questions on Facebook yet.
Business consultation.
Got a bunch of people watching.
A reliable, dedicated firm to serve on your team. Contact Alert Law at.
Yeah, Jeff Flaked is awesome, and season 2 is out. I think it's a great show.
1120.
Oh, here we go,
By
Jay.
Gerald Aylert, principal offices in Houston, not board certified.
Oh, we got a question?
Specialization.
Oh no, we're going. It's like, no, we had a question.
It's all good. All right.
Welcome back. Jason Bible, Right Path Real Estate. Calling number 713-785-1817. I'll tell you, I love being in the studio with Nikki because I feel like we're really doing a radio show, right?
It's for real.
It's for real now. She's got the board, all this stuff going on. It's like it's instead of just kind of doing it in her office. Our board's like this little miniature board about the size of your laptop. We got some headsets we put on, and then we talk about real estate. But it's fun to be here in the studio. So, if you got any questions, 713-785-1817. Also taking questions on Facebook. That's facebook.com/Right Path Real Estate. We got an event coming up Thursday here in Houston. It'll be at the Hilton Westchase, 9999 Westheimer. You can go to rightpathrealestate.com, sign up there. I'm going to talk about the deals we lost money on. I think we're up to 4 houses now out of 400 we've lost money on. So we're going to talk about those. And a whopper, we lost 55 grand on one. We're going to share that one with you. So, a lot of people like to teach real estate and say, oh, you're never going to lose money in real estate. And I'm like, well, that's total baloney. You do this business long enough, you do enough deals, you're going to eat one every now and then. Mr. Market is a humbling experience. And sometimes you take on a deal that looks, based on all the things that you thought were true, you take on a deal every now and then and you eat one. It just doesn't work out. It's kind of part of life. If I've got a friend of mine who is a lender, and he has told me he does not lend to people who have not lost money in real estate. And I said, what do you mean? I said, why would you not lend to somebody who hasn't lost money? He said, well, they're either A, a liar, or B, they haven't done real estate enough yet to justify lending to them. In other words, they don't have enough experience yet. So whenever somebody tells me they haven't lost money in real estate, my first thought is, you're either a newbie or you're not being honest. You do this business long enough and you will lose money. Now, the important part is you don't lose money on your first couple of deals. We want to keep that from happening. But every now and then you're going to lose money. It's just part of life. It's part of running a business. That's just the reality of it. So, in any case, that's what I'm going to talk about on Thursday night. Again, you can go to rightpathrealestate.com. That's RIGHT, pathrealestate.com. Sign up there, and we'll see you there at the 9999 Westheimer location. By the way, if you RSVP for the event, you'll get 2 drink tickets. If you don't RSVP, you get the cash bar. So you must register unless you want to, buy your own beverages. But in any case, so we'll see you there. We open the doors at 6:30. I get started typically about 7. So that's when I'll get on stage, depending on how full the place gets and how good the networking is. Then I'll get started and we'll talk about how we lost money in real estate. And then I'll tell you about our weekend retreat coming up in Dallas and the next one here in Houston. I was explaining a little bit during the break about how we got started in real estate. And I probably should tell this story more often. We started back in July of 2013. Tom and I each put $20,000 into marketing to find real estate deals. From July to December, we bought 7 houses. And then what we did is we immediately took the money we made from those 7 houses and put it right back into marketing. And that year, 2014, we bought 67 houses. 2015, we bought 90. This past year, we bought 120. And depending on how this year shapes out, we might hit 200. So we're really pushing to see how far we can get it between the two companies. We've started in Dallas. We've got a handful of properties we're doing up in Dallas right now, currently clearing title issues and that sort of thing. So it might take a few months for us to close on those properties. But just in Houston, a lot of people ask, like, well, are you doing deals all over the country? And no, there's plenty of deals in the Houston market for us. So, we figure, we talk more about this in the weekend retreat, we figure there are about 10,000 houses that get sold on and off MLS every month here in Houston. That's 120,000 houses a year. If you want to buy a couple hundred houses, that's like less than 0.5% of the total market. I mean, it's such a small portion of the overall market. There are plenty of houses to buy in this market. In fact, I had spent so much money on real estate education. Every time I'd sit down with my new coach or mentor, I'd ask them, how big is the market? Say, hey man, how big's the market? Whenever you go into a new business, the first question you want to ask is, how big's the market? I'm sure Elon Musk and his investors said, hey, we're going to start building these electric cars. How big is the electric car market? And I paid all these guys all this ridiculous amount of money, and nobody could tell me how big the market was. Well, we figured it out. And like I said, it's about 120,000 houses a year. And that told us that there's probably enough houses that we could buy 10, 20, 30 of these things a month. And there's plenty in other words, the pie is big enough, right? The pie is big enough for everybody to buy deals, right? I mean, if I were to guess, the investor market's probably somewhere between 1,000 and 3,000 houses a month. I mean, that wouldn't surprise me. 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 houses a month. Most people, in fact, it's funny, there was an article that came out in the Wall Street Journal a few years ago when institutional investors like Blackstone were getting involved in real estate. And it said that they consider a single-family investor an institutional investor, which is a big investor. When you're talking about like hedge funds manage money, who's an institutional investor? Those are big investors. So in the single-family world, they consider someone to be an institutional investor if they buy 10 or more houses a year. And I always thought that was a funny metric because that's like March for us, or April or May. That's like a month for us, 3 weeks, somewhere around there. So to buy 10 houses a month makes you a really big player, even nationally. And the amazing thing is, with the Texas markets in particular, our markets are so big, you can buy 10 houses a month, or you can buy 10 houses a year, and you really don't even show up on the radar. I mean, a house a month, don't get me wrong, you're working, but you could still hold down a full-time job and buy a house a month. You don't need to work 900 hours a week to buy a house a month. In fact, the median income for most American households is about $45,000 a year. And if you look at what one single family house brings in wealth creation through, equity, mortgage pay down, cash flow from rents, the tax advantages of owning single family real estate, and the appreciation over time, that little one rental house probably brings on average $45,000 to $50,000 into that household over, let's say, 7, 8, 9, 10-year period. So it makes a lot of sense. Even if you can't buy 10 houses a year, just buy one. Our accountant and tax attorney, he's also our corporate attorney. I don't know how many thousands of tax returns they file a year. It's a ton. And even their non-real estate clients, they tell, just buy a house a year. Just buy a house a year and rent it out. So for some of y'all, you don't have to set the world of work on fire in real estate to build a lot of wealth. Just buy a house a year. In fact, one of my favorite strategies, and we have a couple of folks that are doing this in our group, is to buy a house, put it on a 15-year mortgage. Let's say you buy 2 houses a year, put them on a 15-year mortgage. After 7 years, sell half the portfolio, and that should have enough cash to pay off the other half. So let's say you do this for 7 years, buy 2 houses a year, you got 14 houses. You ought to be able to sell 7 and pay off the other 7, have 7 houses free and clear. And given rents here in Houston, that'll probably net you, on free and clear assets, probably $700-800 a month per house. Depending on how nice the houses are, it could be $1,000 a month. I mean, who wouldn't want after 7 years to have somewhere between $5,000 and $7,000 a month in cash flow? That's not bad. Making $60,000 a year, $60,000 to $72,000 a year, without even getting out of bed in the morning. I like that strategy. Who likes getting paid before you go to work? My favorite, I was at a presentation one time, and somebody had said, who likes to go to work and then get paid, and paid? Or who likes to go to work, get paid, go to work, get paid, go to work, get paid? I'm like, I kind of like the former rather than the latter. And that's what a lot of rental properties are. That's what single-family real estate is. I'm a huge fan of single-family real estate over multifamily for a number of reasons. One of which is appreciation. The second is liquidity. I'll talk a little bit more about that in maybe a later show, but I want to get to this article. It's really interesting because it goes to the issue of debt pay down. I have never really understood the fascination with re-leveraging single-family real estate. Let me back up a minute and let me explain how most single-family real estate for investment purposes is bought. There's 2 ways it's bought. One with cash, 2 with a lien, with a bank. So you can pay cash for single-family real estate, which is fine. House is worth $150,000. Buy it for $70,000. Needs, $30,000 in work. You're in for $100,000. You pay $100,000 cash for it. Probably rents for $1,300 a month. Not a bad payday. Probably making $700 a month in cash flow on a $100,000 investment. Man, it's not bad. It's about a 9.5% rate of return. You add your vacancy in there. You add your make-ready costs. You're probably about 8% rate of return. Or the second way you can buy real estate is with leverage. So you go in there and put a loan on the property. This isn't a show about finance. When Daryl Dykes here with Noble Mortgage, we can get into the financing and how the math works. But at the end of the day, let's say you've got a note on the property. PITI and the whole shoot match is probably $700 a month. Again, it's renting for $1,300 a month. You're probably cash flowing. At the end of the day, PITI plus vacancy and all that other stuff, you're probably cash flowing $300-400 a month. You probably out of pocket a few $1,000 or nothing if you're doing it right. I know a lot of landlords right now that are putting $20,000 into these deals, and they're cash flowing $400 a month. And I'm telling you, that's not running this real estate like a business. We get back from the break, I'm going to talk more about why leverage is so important, but how it can be your Achilles heel as well. It's Jason Bible, Right Path Real Estate.
Hey Jay, do you have a white car?
I got a couple. Yeah, I got.
I didn't know what you drive today.
a white Tacoma.
Is it a 4-door?
Yeah, 4-door, 4-wheel drive.
You parked in a Salem spot.
Did I park where?
In a Salem Smart spot.
I parked all the way down in the basement.
In the.
Are you an active
Well,
real estate
Scott,
investor?
the money
If
guy. I
so,
was like,
a
someone
real
in a
estate
white
attorney is a crucial
4-door
member to add to your
sedan
team.
parked in his
Contact Dealer Law
spot.
at
Oh, no, it's not a sedan, it's a truck.
231
Okay.
1120.
Oh, come in.
Dealer Law serves client.
It's a truck.
What's up?
You drove a Sonoma or
A Tacoma.
Okay.
It's a white
Just wanted
truck.
to make sure before I had them towed.
Oh, okay, man. Can you get a tow truck in the garage?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I gotta do is put a strap on mine. I got a 250.
Oh,
That's why I
okay.
can't park anywhere else.
Oh,
my
yeah.
extra wide spot.
Yeah. No, not me.
Somebody's in
Do you think a college student could start real estate?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
would be the first step. Going to one of the classes.
Yeah, go to one of our classes. and learn how to do it like a business. And then the second thing you've got to figure out is how much money and how much time you've got. Because in a business, it's going to take both, right? Money for marketing or time for marketing. And if you don't have much money, that's fine, but you got to have some time. You know, whether that's knocking on doors, networking with real estate investors and realtors, making offers on MLS, working with wholesalers. You could do it. It's a lot more challenging. You know, when we started, one of the reasons that we spent 20 grand in marketing is I was spending $5,000 a month on postcards. I'd rather have the postcards do all the work than me go out and knock on doors and make offers on MLS and all that stuff. But I'll tell you, it works. I mean, we got people in our group that, you know, they bought, one of my favorite ones was, there's a process to doing door knocking. So she knocks on doors, and we leave a little leave behind, a little post-it note with some stuff on it. And this woman calls her back, says, yeah, I'm interested in selling my house. They went out there and contracted and closed it, made, I think, 15 grand, 14.5, you know, on an assignment. So, yeah, you can do it. You just, it's a lot of work if you don't have any money. And then most college students don't have enough, you know, don't have a lot of money. So,
That's the
but, you know, if you can muster about consistently spend $500 to $1,000 a month in marketing and spend a consistent, let's say, 40 hours a month in doing actual marketing, you can pick up 4, 5, 6 deals a year, and maybe even more than that, depending on how committed you are to spending that time. So it just depends on how committed you are. And we've got folks that have joined our program, and inside a year, we have 3 guys right now that have been in the program for a year, and this year I think they'll break into just under $1 million. They're making $100,000 a month. Now they're spending a lot of money on marketing and they're working like a dog, but you can do it. No hanging out with your buddies on the weekends. No hanging out with your friends at night. I mean, you're working weekends and nights and. But, I mean, you can build an empire. You really can. Just got to work. That's hard to do with rental properties, and that's what I'm going to talk about in this next segment. A lot of folks are, I'm a real estate investor, and I'm buying all these rental properties and making $400 a month in cash flow. I'm like, yeah, you're not. Nobody's life's changing with $400 a month in cash flow. It's really not. With $20,000 out of pocket, it doesn't make sense.
Investor Loan Source is Houston's premier investor loan company. Our products and approval process are unique in the Houston marketplace. First of all, we are based on the asset alone. That means no credit minimums, no income requirements, and no reserve minimums.
I know, right?
We have short-term loans for fix and flips and several long-term options for rental properties. Since we're asset-based lenders, everyone is
Heck, the last guy was a producer. I'm trying to remember his name. Was it Robert? Yeah, it was Robert. I'll never forget. He just looks at me and goes, hey, guys, I'm leaving, going to a radio station that my buddy started in Atlanta just from listening to you guys. I was like, oh, I guess that's good.
All right, you ready?
Yep. Welcome back. Jason Bible, Right Path Real Estate, 713-785-1817. Go to facebook.com/rightpathrealestate. We've got our feed up. Got a bunch of people in there watching in the studio. We'll take questions there, or you can call us, 713-785-1817. I want to talk a little bit about the perils of single-family rental property. So there are a lot of people that get into this business. I did the exact same thing where you start buying rental properties, single-family real estate. You're exposing your net worth to single-family real estate. And that's fine, but the way a lot of people do it and the way it's taught is not correct. And I'll tell you why. If you're going in and buying a piece of real estate, single-family piece of real estate, and you're putting 20% down, you're not running real estate as a business. You're running real estate as an investment, and there's a big difference. Here's how it works for most people. They get into real estate and they buy, let's say they got $100,000. I go, hey, I got $100,000 to spend on acquiring single-family real estate. Say they're $100,000 houses, $20,000 out of pocket. So they buy 5 houses, cash flowing, let's say $400 a month. So if they have 5 of those, that means they're cash flowing $2,000 a month times 12 is $24,000 a year on a $100,000 investment. Hey, that's 24% rate of return. That's not bad. Not getting that in the stock market, I can tell you that. 24% rate of return is not bad. But you're all out of seed capital. Where'd that $100,000 go? It went into properties. Now what do? You and your wife or you and your husband are sitting around the dinner room table one day. Kids are in bed. Maybe they're off at college. And you look at each other and go, man, this real estate thing's kind of cool. But I want to buy some more properties. Well, we don't have another $100,000 to spend on buying more properties. What do we do now? And I can tell you where most real estate education falls short is they don't tell you what step 2 is. Because that's where step 2 starts. You spend some money, you buy some real estate, you're getting some great returns, and then you go, shoot, I'm all out of money. And I'll tell you how bad this problem is. Go to all your real estate clubs in town, in particular the ones that teach single-family rental properties. And then sit down with them and say, all right, mentor or coach, I'm all out of money. What do I do next? And they'll say, well, go find you $100,000. And you'll say, well, I mean, it took me a couple of years to save up that $100,000, so you're telling me I got to save up another $100,000? And they'll say, yeah. Well, what if it took you 10 years to save $100,000? So I got to wait 10 years now? Well, that plan don't work. There's a difference between real estate as an investment and real estate as a business. And how most people get into real estate investing, they start doing it and they go, man, this is kind of cool. I put a little money in, I get some money out, but I run out of seed money. I run out of cash. And the reason is because you're not running this like a business. I'll tell you, one of the things that we teach in our weekend retreats and how we were able to grow is that you don't put your own money in these deals. Now, how do you not put your own money into a piece of real estate? Answer, you got to buy them deep enough. If you're buying at 70%, 75% of what the after repaired value is, in other words, what the value of that asset is once it's all fixed up, you should not have a dime in that piece of real estate. Why? Because lenders will give you 100% financing. Noble Mortgage, all day long, will give you 100% financing if you are all into the deal for 70% or less. In fact, they even have a product out there for certain borrowers and certain assets at 80%. So if you're all in, let's say the house is worth $100,000, you're all in for $70,000 or less, you will not take a dime to closing. In fact, you will go to the closing table and sign stuff and own the house. You'll not have a dollar, a single penny of your own money in this deal. What's your ROI if you don't have a dollar of your own money in that piece of real estate? It's infinite. That's why I tell folks ROI is the worst metric to use in evaluating your business. Because if your ROI is anything less than infinite, you're not doing this business right. You're not running it like a business. You're running it like an investment. And that's okay. Hey, if you got $1 million cash laying around somewhere, if I just had $1 million in cash, which I don't because I invested everything in real estate, I had $1 million in cash and I was ready to retire, I go buy 10 single family houses. and just be done with it. Even a 15% rate of return, you're making 150 grand a year. That's pretty easy to do. However, most people don't have $1 million liquid. Even if you've got over $1 million net worth, which a lot of folks do, it's not liquid. It's in a ton of other investments. So what do you do when you get into real estate? Don't liquidate all that stuff. I hear a guy all the time that says liquidate your 401k to get into real estate. That's insane. That is absolutely insane. In fact, if you do this business right, now this is outside the scope of this radio show, but if it's you and your spouse that are in business together, or you and a business partner, and y'all don't have employees, I mean, you can set up a nice little flipping, wholesaling, and renting operation and run a solo 401k as long as you don't have any employees. I mean, that is an incredibly attractive retirement vehicle. Again, outside the bounds of this radio show, but it's certainly an option out there. But liquidating your 401k is not something I'd recommend. Now, that being said, let's go back to single-family real estate. When you're buying these things, there shouldn't be anything out of pocket if you're buying them right. 70%, house is worth $100,000, you're all in for $70,000. Now, of course, I'll get all these real estate investors that'll say, Jason, you don't understand. My market, I'm in Denver, or I'm in Dallas, I'm in Houston. There's no deals out there at 70%. And I'll tell them, you are absolutely wrong. And yes, if you meet me at a networking event, I will tell you you are wrong. You come to our event Thursday night, and you tell me, Jason, there's no deals out there. And I will tell you, you are wrong. Those deals are out there. We buy them every single month. That doesn't make you a bad person. It just means you got bad information. You went to the wrong class. Because those deals are out there. They're absolutely out. They're out there every single day. They come across in my email every single day. The deals are out there. You just don't know how to find them. Nobody taught you how to find them. Nobody taught you how to negotiate those deals. They're out there. That's how wealth is created. Wealth is not created with your own money. Steve Jobs did not fund Apple. Who do you think where do you think they got the hundreds of millions and later on billions of dollars to run that business? Where do you think that money came from? It came from investors, and it also came from the excess, or what they call the surplus, of money coming in from the sale of their products. That's how they built Apple. Why aren't you running your real estate business the same way? Why aren't you flipping a couple houses, wholesaling a couple houses, or buying rental properties without any money out of pocket? If you're taking money to close on a piece of real estate, you're not running it like a business. Why? Because your rents are not producing enough cash to replace the money you're putting in that deal. It's like selling, let's say an iPhone's $500. It's like selling an iPhone for $500 that costs you $1,000. I hear this all the time at real estate networking events, and I think it's hilarious. Oh, Jason, we're not losing money. We'll make it up on volume. It's like buying potatoes for $1, selling them for 50 cents, and then saying, we'll make it up on volume. That doesn't make any sense at all. Putting $20,000 into a piece of real estate that cash flows you $500 a month is brain damage thinking. It's business brain damage. $20,000 to make $6,000 a year makes no sense whatsoever. None. You need to learn how to run this like a business. We get back from the break, we'll talk more about real estate as a business. Jason Bible, Right Path Real Estate. wonder if do we have somebody on the show tomorrow? I think we do.
Time is money in a real estate deal. If your insurance company is slow or non-responsive, you could lose a deal like that. You need a quick turnaround on quotes or binders? The agency for that is Benchmark Insurance Group of Texas. The team at Benchmark understands the investor mindset. They know what you need and when you need it. We're here for you. Are you a rehabber, wholesaler, buy and hold, or flipper? Bundling your properties on a single policy will help save time and money. Benchmark has been in business for over 10 years, and we insure over 30,000 properties. Contact Benchmark about our exclusive investor package. Call us and let us show you what we can do for you at 281-569-4353. That's 281-569-4353. Or online at benchmarkbroker.com. That's benchmarkbroker.com. That's 281-569-4353. Or online at benchmarkbroker.com.
Yeah.
You see what the comment said?
Oh no, I hadn't seen a comment.
$24 trillion in retirement accounts in the U.S. Imagine if you could use someone's IRA to fund all of your deals. Well, you can. Quest IRA is based locally here in Houston, Texas. At Quest IRA.
Oh, look who has blessed us on the feed. Mike Payne, Mr. Famous.
Oh, that's him?
That's him. That's the man. We got him a name badge that says Mr. Famous, and he wears it to the networking events.
All over the country. We don't sell any.
He's one of our first students.
However, we do hold free networking events, weekly educational classes, and free consultations with an IRA specialist. For more information, visit our website.
Oh, Matt, that's hilarious. Yeah, cash flowing at 90%. Oh, I think I saw that email yesterday. Colby showed it to me, and I'm like, who are these clowns teaching this stuff? That's insane. Hey, James, what did he tell you? It said, I did that and actually said, don't get into real estate. What did he say specifically? Which is funny because I'll tell you at their weekend, they'll show you, oh, here's a deal that's no money out of pocket. And I'm like, how many of your people are doing no money out of pocket deals? Whenever I go to when I used to go to case study nights, I'd ask like somebody gets up and presents a deal, right? A deal that they did. I always ask, well, how old is that deal? Oh, that's what we did like 18 months ago. I'm like, what did you do last month? What did you do last week? A lot of our case studies are stuff we closed like the day before. It's like, let me show you what we did yesterday. So funny.
House flippers, landlords, or even owner-occupied properties. Each of our
he said sometimes you don't even have to have your own engineer.
No, you shouldn't have your own money. No way. Listen to the shows. If you go to iTunes, it's harder to find it on YouTube, but if you go to iTunes, Right Path Real Estate iTunes, and then start looking for the Noble Mortgage, whenever I have Noble Mortgage on, I'm actually going to have them on Friday. We'll talk about doing no money deals. You shouldn't have any money in these things. Your money needs to be in your business. Your money needs to be in marketing and hiring people, and money doesn't need to be in this real estate stuff.
That's exactly why we started Next Gen Appraisals. Next Gen is a group of appraisers specializing in investment real estate. We understand that investors aren't just
I just got, I kid you, a page-long email. Oh, he sent this yesterday. Last night, looks like. About buying houses over 70%. I think the next, no, they've all come out. I did a 3-part series on our blog about buying houses over 70% and how it's a terrible idea. And I've been getting a ton of emails from people.
And no reserve minimums. Second, we have short-term loans for fix and flips and several long-term options for rental properties. Since we're asset-based lenders, everyone is approved. Check out Investor Loan Source at ILS.cash.
Yeah. Oh, no, I hadn't seen it.
ILS.cash.
All right, Jay.
This is Business 1110.
All right.
Ready?
Welcome back. Welcome back. Jason Bible, Right Path Real Estate. Phone number here is 713-785-1817. Going through the Facebook comments here. Somebody had said, hey, man, I just saw a meetup for another real estate group here in town that is talking about how to cash flow properties when you buy them at 90%. And I'm like, that is insane. You know what? I've got some friends of mine. Look, if you're a high net worth guy and you want to buy a couple houses a year, go find a neighborhood you like that you can cash flow. Let's say houses worth $125,000 to $150,000. Put 20% down and buy one of those houses every year. But to do like a big rehab, a hard money loan, all that stuff, just to buy a single family home that you're in for 90% makes no sense at all. You know, just go find a house, put 20% down, no problem. We've got a friend of ours here that said, hey, I joined another real estate education group in town, and they said he only had $100K in cash and said he would run out of money long before he would meet his real estate goals, which is insane. It tells you they don't know what they're doing. We started our first real estate company with $40,000, and we're now 400 houses in with $40,000. So clearly they're not teaching something right. You can easily buy as many houses as you want, as you've got time and money for, if you're serious about building this business. If you're having to put money into these deals, you're not buying them cheap enough. In fact, there's an entire series on our website. If y'all want to check it out, rightpathrealestate.com. Go to the blog section. I've written a 3-part series on why it's financially, why it's business suicide if you pay more than 75% for these deals. Go to my blog and read through it. You would not believe the emails and personal messages I'm getting back from people on Facebook. And they're all, and literally they all say this: where have you been the last 5 years? I wish I had heard this 5 years ago. And then the horror story starts. I've been flipping houses at 80% and it worked for a while, but now it's not. Or I've been buying rental properties at 80 and 85% and it worked for a while, but now it's not. The make-readies are killing me. And if people tell you that single-family rental properties are passive, that's not true at all. It is absolutely an active business. And every now and then, despite all your best efforts, you're going to get a tenant in there that does tear some stuff up. And if you're not deep enough into these properties, you're going to be negative. You don't want your money into these deals. You really don't. You want to learn more about real estate? This Thursday, we've got our big case study. I'm going to show y'all how we lost money in real estate and where we went wrong. It's only 4 deals out of 400. But we had 396 we made good money on. And I'll share a couple of those at the end as well. A couple of deals that we just closed last week. Our case studies are all fresh. These aren't case studies from a year ago. They're case studies that we've done in the last couple of weeks. The ink isn't even dry on the HUDs to give you an idea how fresh they are. So we'll see you Thursday night, $99.99 Westheimer. Go to rightpathrealestate.com. Again, that's here in Houston. Dallas, I'll see you guys on the 15th. And our weekend retreat's coming up. If you want to learn how to do real estate the right way, the right path, just go to rightpathrealestate.com. Sign up there. Our next event, our weekend retreat, is in Dallas. It's not this weekend, it's the following weekend. It's 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So thanks for listening. We'll see you guys tomorrow. It's been Jason Bible, Right Path Real Estate.
Yay! Good job, good job.
I think
You've been listening to Right Path Real Estate Radio. Find Jason and Tom.
There you go. I like it.
I'm gonna come.
Come on out to the weekend retreat. I think our general admission are $300. Yeah, $300. All right, thanks, Facebook.